tired, drowsy, slow. I thought it was just me not eating right because obviously university life, you just eat what you can find. And so I got bit by an insect and on my hand, right? And obviously when we get bit on our hands or anyway, really, you know, we get a bump and then it goes down and then we continue our lives, right? So this was not that. Okay, so I got bit by an insect, and my entire hand got infected. Now, as a guy, I wasn't instinctively going to the doctors. I was like, my body's gonna heal itself. My body's gonna heal itself. I went back home, uh, and I go around women, primarily my mom and my auntie, and they both looked at me and said, "You need to go to the hospital." So I got kidnapped, taken to the hospital, and like literally against my will. And then we went there, and yeah, they did a blood test. They said, "Oh, something's wrong with your blood." So I was like, "Okay." At this time, my dad's next to me, so they say, "Listen, it could be anything from AIDS to cancer." Now, I personally, as serious as that sounds, for some reason, I just have this knack of finding the funny in certain things. And so I looked at my dad because he was next to me, and I go, "It might be cancer, but it's not AIDS."
Oh,
I literally, I was looking because he looked at me and said, "What, AIDS?" And I said, "Dad, it's not AIDS. It's not AIDS. It's not AIDS. Trust me, it's not AIDS. It might be cancer, but it's not AIDS."
oh,
So that I found that little moment funny, but obviously as time progressed, it was actually cancer. It wasn't even a joke. It was actually cancer. And it turned out that I had blood cancer, in the form of leukemia, acute myeloid leukemia, and I didn't even know. Like, and again, this really goes back into why I believe everything works together, because the very fact that I got bitten is a story in itself. Because I was actually in accommodation that my parents didn't want me in. So the accommodation wasn't good. It was below average, uni accommodation. And my dad was like, "Oh, I'm upset that you're living here. I don't want you to live here," so forth and so forth. Had I not lived there, I would have never got bit. If I never got bit, I would never have found out I was ill in the first place. And then I never found out that I had cancer. So again, for coming from a really crap place to obviously going from that, learning, finding out something that I would never have known if I wasn't there, getting put in a situation where I now know what I know, and then obviously starting that journey on that way. So hindsight, I was like, okay, I could see how the universe or God or whatever you believe in kind of structured that so that, okay, cool, now you're gonna go to hospital. Da, 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 da. And so yeah, I went to hospital, age 21, and I was told I got a week to live. Now that came about, was a bit scary because again, I'm 21, I'm in my peak, I'm in my prime and all of that jazz. And I'm being told, listen, the hopes and dreams that you have for the future, put them on hold because you may not make it to see it. So again, scary. But again, in hindsight, some good stuff came about from that. Number one, everyone I had an issue with, I no longer had an issue with, and vice versa. So people that thought I was gonna die, just any beefs we had or miscommunications got settled.
Yeah.
Because they as far as everyone's concerned, I'm dying in 7 days, so there's no point. And obviously it freed me from a lot of my internal grudges and stuff. Things I was, when you think you have time to hold stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, all right, cool. I'm just gonna say what I have to say now, before I go. And then it kind of freed me up to think differently as well, because when you're about to die, or you get told you're gonna die medically anyway, a lot of emotions crack up, but not only emotions, but paradigms in terms of what's important. And so, like my skin color wasn't important. My heritage wasn't important. very little
Wow.
things mattered. Like the only thing that mattered really was I going up or down, which is like at top of the list. Okay.
Yes.
Number two, it was all the things I hadn't done, and number three, all the things I hadn't said or achieved yet in terms of like the goals I had planned out for myself.
Wow.
Besides that, nothing else really mattered. And I kind of tried to hold to that now, even though I'm healthy. Like the stuff that I get stressed about now, I'm like, remember, none of this mattered when you was about to die. It means it doesn't matter now, which means chill out. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it brings you back to a point where you go, does this really require this much energy? Like, if
Yes.
if I get told today I'm gonna die, does this thing really here matter? And it's like, not really, but I need to do it. But it's all the energy I was giving it kind of dissipates, and it's like, all right, cool, I'll do what I can. If it don't work out, it don't work out. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, back to the story. 6 months of chemo. There's a whole spiritual side to this as well, which I'm not sure we have time for. But long story short, I was cussing at God the whole time. Only because I was raised Christian, number one, and number two, I wasn't exactly a bad person, so I couldn't fathom why I was having this experience. And then, I was bad mouthing God, bad mouthing God, bad mouthing God. Luckily, he didn't kill me there and then. But the story goes deeper, where like pastors and preachers came to my house to pray for me and so forth, because everyone thought I was gonna die. Not my parents. My parents, strangely enough, had faith, but I'm talking about the wider community. Based upon what the doctors had said, all thought I was gonna die. And so they came to my house and so forth, and they prayed for me, praying for me. And I got fed up. I can't lie, I got fed up because again, I'm dying. So I'm like, I really haven't got time for this. As far as I'm concerned, I know what the Bible says. I was raised Christian.
Yeah.
If two or more gathering here, anything concerning you, you'll
Yes.
be in the midst, right?
Yeah.
Right, lovely. Who here believes it's God's plan for me to be sick? No one? All right, lovely. So if we pray one more time, and I'm gonna say nothing negative. If we pray, God should show up. Because I don't believe it's God. I was taught that he'll be in the midst, and I don't think it's his will for me to be sick. All right, boom. Let's pray. So we prayed. I looked at my hand. It still had the infection. I walked out the door, said, "Don't chat to me about God no more." So that was it. So that was it. Now, the reason I share that is because obviously sometimes as Christians we think that, all right, cool, because you're Christian, no struggle is meant to come to you because you're Christian. Life don't work like that. But there was a lot of grace that was handed to me in the process of what I went through. For example, the first piece of grace was my grandma called me from America. She doesn't have. I don't really think she has a life. All she does. No, it's fine. It's fine. I tell it to her face. She just prays. That's what she does. And she called me, and she's like, I know I can see you're frustrated, but you're gonna say something you can't take back. Like, chill out. Like, what's going on? I said, you don't understand. They said I'm gonna die. I said, okay, again, chill out. What did they say? So yeah, they said I'm gonna die. And said like this many days. She said, cool. This is upsetting. I can hear it in your voice. I understand. However, if you can't find anything positive to say, don't say nothing at all. Wow. I should just like be angry, but be quiet. And again, it goes back to the principles of life and death is in the power of the tongue and all that jazz. So I was angry for the whole 6 months. By the way, like I was angry, but I wasn't vocal about it.
Yeah.
So I went for the chemo, had some bad experiences. Worst experience was I was having a dream that I was drowning. Woke up, I was actually drowning on my own blood. Coughed up like 3 buckets of blood in my sleep. No, obviously not in my sleep. When I woke up, I coughed up 3 buckets of blood. Number one. Number two, well, that's the worst experience actually, to be fair. The first year. So that was 6 months of chemo. Being in isolation, doing all that jazz, losing my hair, all of that stuff. 2015 August, I got the all clear. Went back to university, had the party. You're healthy.
Wow.
You're meant to die in 7 days, but you're here. Did all of that jazz, all the pictures and all that. Went back to uni. 2016 January, in the same month, in the same week, I relapsed. And this time I didn't cuss out God. And in fact, it was so dramatic because they said, like, it's chemo resistant now. We don't know what we're going to do. And not many black people are on the register for stem cells. So we don't know what's going to happen. Bear in mind, 2 people who were in hospital with me just died. So Munir and Alex. Yeah. No, 3 people. Munir, Alex, and Andy.
Wow.
Okay, so Munir, Alex, Andy, and Jordan, but I didn't speak to Jordan, so I'm only gonna say really Munir, Alex, and Andy. And then so I was like, boy, they died, and I've got it again. Scary. So I didn't cuss of God this time. In fact, I actually got dragged to church by one of my friends, and did the whole fasting and prayer thing, but I couldn't do that because I was on like 55 medications.
Yeah.
So I just did like
yes,
a week, if that. But I started the year positive. And it's almost like God, or whatever you believe in, the universe or so forth, kind of went, oh, you're back. so in February, I had like the worst month I had in the 2-year span. And I'm talking about, this is the part of my journey where I looked like I had cancer, in the sense of the first year it was bad, but I kind of sailed through it looking back on it. That second year, like, I looked like what you see on adverts, but worse. So I'm talking about, like, I was a different color, I was skinny, I was scrawny, I grew an abscess that was near my bum, so I know I couldn't go bathroom. Every time I stood up, I went to the toilet. I was wearing adult diapers. I was on a morphine drip that I could click every 60 seconds. Every time I stood up and my bowels emptied, I had to take a shower. I was taking 6 showers a day. I was washing, and then my skin was drying out. So I had dry skin. I was skinny. I was made an adult diaper. It was humbling. Very, very humbling. And that was for at least 30 days. The reason being is that they couldn't operate on the abscess because my platelets were low, which means that if they operated, I would have bled out. So I had to suffer with it. And obviously my parents seeing me suffer with it, they kind of went, this isn't good. And they saw me deteriorate, like, for the first time in like 2 years. So they made a whole campaign on Facebook and so forth, social media, to pray for Kierran, da. One thing I will say about God is he's slow, but he's on time, because
always on time. Yes.
Yeah.
Never early.
And again, this is where learning lessons about what to say and what not to say comes into play. Because remember, I just had that whole dramatic bung God last year. So this year I'm keeping quiet and I'm trying to be positive and put him first and all that jazz. On this 7-day period, and my mom says, okay, for this 7-day period, can everyone, I don't care what religion you are, whatever, can everyone just pray? And then on the 7th day at this time, can everyone pray together? So we had people in mosques praying, people in temple, people in Sikh, people in Hindi.
Wow. Everywhere.
Atheists sending good vibes. Other people just praying and all of that. So, and then on the 7th day, everyone prayed at, I think, like 1 o'clock or something like that. Anyway, I didn't feel no dramatic thing. I didn't start shaking or nothing. But the abscess shrunk enough for them to be able to operate in it. Now, here's the human part of my being. I innately I went, wait, so God, it took what, thousands of people to pray for you to wake up, but I held it in. I kept quiet.
Speak it out.
And I just said, look, thank you, because at the end of the day, thousands of people didn't have to pray. So do you know what? Let me just be quiet and say less, because if I keep talking, who knows? Do you know what I mean? So I'm just gonna say, oh, okay, whatever. I just moved on. And then that year I found a donor. It was from some baby in Germany. Never met him. Never, probably won't ever meet him. But it was from the umbilical cord of the baby. They can use the umbilical cords now to create stem cells. So I got that. And then that changed my skin tone. So I was like 3 shades darker than this for like a while. What else? Then I got the all clear in August. So I got the all clear in August 2016. Interloped into this whole story. I dropped out of university. It was the first time I got ill. But when I went back to uni that year, I didn't drop out that time because I didn't know I was gonna get sick this next year around. And then in hospital, I was like, I'm not doing this again. I hate uni. I don't want to stick it out. I don't want to come out of hospital and then go back to uni again. So I was like, all right, let me do my coursework and stuff in hospital. And I did that all via WhatsApp and email and all that stuff.
Wow.
And then I even discharged myself from hospital, took my exams before my transplant at Hertfordshire University, came back to Royal Marsden and Sutton, reinstated myself, had the transplant, and then I got the all clear. So basically I graduated that year that I also got the all clear, which was a good experience. And then that was basically the end of that saga, which then led me to obviously, a lot of people were following me at that point. So everyone kept saying to me, where's the book? Where's the book? Where's the book? And I'm like, what book, bruv? I'm happy to be alive. I wasn't planning to write a book. But so many people asked me that I ended up writing one. So just so people just leave me alone. So I wrote a book. It's called What Can I Control? It's on Amazon.
Wow.
And it's basically just to say, like, look, there's gonna be things in your life that you can't control, but there's things that you can control in every situation, even if it's just your emotions or your perspective.
Yes.
And I basically break that down into my own personal experiences as to what happened. And then from there, I got to meet celebrities because of it. I got to meet a bunch of people. But meeting celebrities doesn't pay you. So, and a lot of the talking I was doing at the time was for free, like at churches and so forth, or radio stations or whatnot. So I had to get a job. So I got a job, selling property, hated it. But it was money, so I stayed. However, like most people, if there's a way out, you'll take it. And it got to a point where I was there and my being just started to reject being there. It's almost like I didn't survive everything I went through to be in this office with people I don't like, doing something I don't like every day.
Yeah.
My body just said, no, I didn't survive for this. So I quit and I got a night shift at Tesco and I was happy because I didn't speak to anyone. I just do shelves, get paid premium and go home. But I was also like, I can do more than this though. And that's when I just said, God, I don't care what it is, but just bring to me some type of opportunity where I can make money, but I don't have to exchange my newly found time for it. And so that's when Forex got introduced to my life. Because Forex, you don't need a bunch of money to get started, number one. Number two, it's a great way for people with little money to grow money slowly over a period of time, so that one day when you have a big account, you can obviously make lots of money per day. So I was intrigued, got involved, and in 6-7 months later, after getting started, I became debt-free in my 20s. So I haven't paid my university degree, that they can take a seat back, but I'm talking about everyone else. I'm debt free, like loans and credit cards, overdraft, that's all done. So that's fine. And then now it's just about trading to that point where I spoke about, where you can make hundreds of pounds, like not 100, but hundreds of thousands of pounds a day or whatever. But also showing other people, like, listen, I care, but I don't. In terms of what you've been through, like when I say I don't care, I just mean it's not an excuse. I care about what you've been through, but it's not enough for you to come in here making excuses. Like, yes, you've been through stuff, but if you want to change your life, this is what Forex has done for me. I'm not saying it's for everybody, but this is what it's done for me. If you're interested in learning more, this is how you can do it. And I show them how they can get involved. If they don't want to get involved, then they don't get involved. So it is what it is. And so my role now is just basically just to enjoy life, number one, but responsibly. But number two, just live the best of, like, time is very important to me. So if I can do Forex and I can make money from my house, and I can show other people who maybe haven't nearly died, but they got kids or, loved ones that they can't spend time with because they're like being a nurse and doing night shifts and all this other stuff that people go through at the moment. Then if they can get that little bit of time back to themselves so they can spend it with their kids or their family, or they just, or again, materialistic, they just want to buy the Lamborghini.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own motivation.
Yeah,
it's just whatever. But at the end of the day, if I can help you get one step closer to that, then I feel like I'm fulfilled in the sense where, okay, that's why I survived, kind of thing. So that's kind of my drive, and it's not really about the money because I'm debt free. So yes, it's about the money, as in I should be
for your future. Yeah.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? But it's not
Yeah.
like I don't have to trade for money in terms of because I got debt. I'm trading because it's a skill, and I'm trading because like it's gonna be something I'm gonna be doing for the next at least 10 years of my life. So for me, it's like it's a lifestyle now. It's not really something I'm doing because I need it. And I was trying to help people get to that point where they can do that too. So that they can change their life, really. So that's what I'm pretty much on at this point in my life. And yeah, that's basically it.
Wow. That's an amazing, I mean, it's huge. You went to the brink of death and you've come back. You know, you did your did you do your exams while you were still in hospital?
So I told the doctors, my mom was there
Wow.
actually, so she can vouch for this. But there's a part in between cycles of chemo where they allow for your white blood cells to come back up. And then before they put me on the next cycle, I said, listen, I'm not going back on the next slot of chemo yet. They said, what? I said, yeah, I got your exams. I had to go take them. I'm not missing it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So there's like, well, you got cancer, you're missing them again. I said, listen, either you guys give me an option or you find one option of me leaving here and going to university for 5 days and coming back, or I just get up and leave. So that's your options, not mine. Do you know what I mean? So they went away, had the little doctor whisper in the corner, came back, gave me antibiotics for 5 days worth. So go to uni, come back, and then we'll put you back on. And that's what I did. So went to uni, took my exams. The university took care of me and all of that. Came back, and then reinstated myself, and then had the transplant. So yeah, and then I graduated with a 2-1 in business studies and management that year. So
well done to you. I'm so proud of you for what, you know, I think that's incredible. And, you know, I just feel, I can just imagine what your parents and your grandmother must, you know, because I know as a mother and a grandmother, how, you know, it would just be devastating for me to, you know, and I mean, no one would even know. Look at you.
Yeah, I haven't cut my hair since the all clear. That's the reason I got dread.
Huh?
I haven't cut my hair since the all clear. So that's why I've got dreads.
It looks amazing. You just look so, you know, nobody would know that you've gone through what you've gone through.
Nah.
So I'm so happy for you. And, you know, I want to talk about where you are now with the business that you're doing, because obviously in COVID and so many people are struggling and worried and what have you. What would you say to people about, you know, trading? Because this is something where, for me, I would have thought you've got to know all this maths, you've got to know all this stuff, you've got to be some kind of economist or something. What would you say to anyone who's just, you know, random person who wants to change their life?
I'd say it depends what you're trying to achieve. I'm not trying to be the world's best trader, so I don't get involved in the maths or the economist stuff.
That's what you think, yeah?
I don't get involved in that. And it's again, you may, if you fall in love with it to the degree where you have to go down that route, which is obviously more to do with institutional trading, which is finding out, watching Bloomberg and doing all that kind of fundamentals, then you can do that if you want to. That's just not for me. So I don't trade that way. I use institutional principles, but I trade with a group called No Limit Nation, and they're part of a bigger group. But basically, they're attached to an online academy, and that online academy gives you access to obviously the full course. Like in terms of like the videos are broken down into sections from beginning to intermediate to expert. You're given access to like over 100 plus full-time educators who trade different strategies worldwide and trade 3 to 5 times a week.
Wow.
And the way I make my money is that I use an algorithm that they call harmonics, where it finds trades for you
Now
in the market.
that is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't actually do a lot of work. Obviously, we still have to analyze the market and do some basic analysis, but I don't have to look for trades. That's a lot of pressure taken off my system. So I just wait for the scan to find something. I mark up mark up and figure out if it's good to take, yes or no, and then I just take it and then just apply faith and then go about your day. So I don't really I'm not in front of the computer all day. Like I had a photo shoot today and I went to the park. That's why when you called me, I was wicked. I wasn't at home like looking at laptops with 4 laptops.
You're not, yeah, because this is the thing that worries people, I think. Am I going to be stuck at my computer all day, 7 days a week? Yeah.
No, it's not that. It doesn't have to be that. It can be that if you make it that, but it doesn't have to be that. It just have to be. You just have to give it. You do have to give it like an hour a day, or hour and a half a day. Like you have to. Anything you want to learn, you're gonna have to give time to.
But what is an hour a day if it's going to change your financial life, your family life? You know what I mean?
Yeah, but we know that. But it's only now that people are realizing how much time they have now that COVID's here.
Yes.
Before this, everyone was like, oh, I'm busy.
Yeah.
Now that people got time on their hands, everyone's like, maybe I should learn a skill. So why not learn a skill that's gonna pay you for the rest of your life? It's my point. Like a lot of us wasn't raised, like they don't teach Forex in
schools.
They don't teach how to pay bills in school either. Everything that's to do with money, they leave out conveniently, but they want you to work. They want you to understand maths and English so you can be an employee.
Yes.
But they don't really teach you how to manage money, because if you did learn how to manage money, you did learn how to create wealth for yourself, you would then become a threat. And if you think about the millions of people that the educational system churns out every single year, if just 5, 10, 15 of them get enough sense to make wealth, that's 15 new threats the people that have money are not competing with. And so they don't want everybody to know how to make that wealth, because more wealth, it creates more competition. And so the information has been hidden, but it's not even hidden anymore. But people are so conditioned that they're not looking for it anymore.
Because they just assume based on the old programming. Yes. Yeah. Wow. So how can people, what's the company and how can people get in touch with you if they want to know more?
Okay, so we go by the name of No Limit Nation because we are part of the company. We have our own brand. The company itself is I Am Academy. Now, on social media and Google and whatever, there's gonna be bad reviews, and there's gonna be good reviews, just like McDonald's, just like anything else.
Yeah.
So I can only speak for how we operate, because in our thing, like no one is a sign up, no one is just a referral. Like we actually care. And we want to make sure that everyone in our team actually learns Forex, because there's no greater feeling, especially from what I'm concerned anyway, when someone comes, doesn't know anything, and then they message you, oh, I just made £50, my first £50, all my days, and then their eyes open up like, oh wow, like if I keep doing this for 6 months or a year, where can I be? I said, yeah, that's the whole point. And for me, that's fulfilling. And I've kind of got a team now of people and leaders where everyone feels the same way. But it's not always the case. There are a lot of teams out there where they don't treat people like people, and they just sign people up and then you're signed up, and then they kind of just leave you to it. We're not that. If they want to access me or whatever, then I'm pretty open. So Instagram or Facebook or anything really. My Instagram would be K Jarrett Official. So KJARRETT Official. Or they can find me at Kierran Jarrett on Facebook. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
What about your book? How can people get hold of your book? Because I'm sure there's a lot of mindset going on in that book.
Yeah, it's just on Amazon.
People. Yeah,
it's on Amazon. So I don't carry stock or nothing. It's not like Waterstones or nothing like that. It's just literally if you type in what can I control on Amazon, and then just put like Jarrett or Kierran or whatever, a big picture of my face comes up. So you can't even miss it. There's a black face, just not black face like dark, but
not putting on something.
Yeah, not the racial black face, but it's just like my face is there smiling, and I'm on the face of the book, so you should be able to see me. Like it's not hard to find.
Okay.
It's not hard to find at all.
Wow.
Yeah.
what I want to, because I know you're really busy, you've had a long day already, I don't want to add any, give you any more to do, but can you just talk to anybody who may be going through something? Because I mean, what you went through was incredible. I mean, I'm sure you look back and think where you are now, and you look back and it's like, wow,
Yeah.
What would you say to anybody who's going through maybe a health challenge, or maybe other, something that is stopping them from living their best life, or going for what their dream, or what they're born to do? They have a gift, but, they're not utilizing it. What would you say to that person, knowing what you know as a young person, as you are still?
I mean, you mentioned quite a few different types of people in that question. Because you said there's people that have health issues.
Could be.
But you also said people that are healthy but just aren't living up to their potential. And to those two people, I give different
yes
answers. So for people that go through health issues, number one, understand that just because they say you're gonna die doesn't mean you're gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
You die when you give up.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank, period. Like you should, if you really care about living, then you need to care about living. And I say that because there's people in our, okay, I will say this, Andy, Munir, Alex, they actually believed that they tried really hard to and they survived. Like they lasted all the way up to my final year in hospital, like my final few months.
Mm-hmm.
And then they all died in the same part, like few months. So for 2 years, they was my people in hospital.
Yes, your
but there's other people in hospital who were always negative. Always negative. Came in, was swearing at their parents, came in, were always negative, came in, was just really just like, it was so bad that I can say this because we all had cancer in the room, so it's not like you get special treatment for having cancer, but you all got it. So when he came in, when this particular person came in, we was like, can you take him out, please? Like, no. We all have the same thing in there, but we're trying to maintain a high level of positivity.
Yes.
And he's just killing the mood. Can you just put him into a separate room? Because I don't feel sorry for him. We all got it. So
there's no, yes, exactly.
Put him somewhere else. And he didn't make it. He lasted like 2 months.
Wow.
And I don't mean to make it sound so blasé. It's just there's a difference between being upset and being counterproductive to your situation. I think there's a time in the season to be upset, but once you've been upset, it's time to change. If you don't change, then you're falling into negativity, which obviously leads to depression. It leads to all these other things like suicidal thoughts and can I do this? Is it worth fighting for anymore? And that's not really the thoughts that someone who wants to live has. And to not go down that route, you should always maintain your positive thinking. But even if it's by what you listen to in hospital, I didn't listen to barely any negative music when I was in hospital. I listened to more instrumentals or gospel sometimes if I could stomach it. And I say stomach because it gets a bit much. Or just stuff that wasn't negative. Like there was no drill, there was barely any rap. It was just like anything that was positive. Number two, your circle is very important. Only certain people could visit me in hospital. My parents obviously had access to me, but also there was a time when, and my mom doesn't like the fact I talk about this, but it's the facts. There was a time period where I had to ban my mom from hospital. Because not because she was negative, but she was loving me she was trying to love me in a way which was counterproductive to how I felt, in the sense where, like, if I coughed, she would call the nurse. Now I know it's just a cough, leave me alone. But mom, let me get the nurse. I said, Mom, chill. Make it so
yes, yeah.
You know what I mean? But she wants to like take care, that maternal instinct. It was like, okay, cool. I can't stop you from being you, but what I can do is stop you from coming here. So I banned my mom for 2 weeks.
Wow.
I said, so you can't, not even until you adapt. I can't have you here. Do you understand? Like, it's not. I'm not trying to be mean. I just can't have you here.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And so that happened, and again, I think everybody should get that that level of, people should earn your presence in terms of to be around you. If you're trying to work to a particular goal, or you're trying to survive, especially when it comes to health,
Yes, this is your
you
life.
don't want the
Your
people that
life.
are going to
Yeah.
cry in your space
Yeah.
all the time. You
Yeah.
want the people that I got friends for there's so much of, you know, those friends that even if you like the stub your toe, they're not gonna go, oh, you stubbed your toe. They're gonna be like, ah, ha, ha, ha. They're gonna laugh at you.
Yeah.
It's those people kind of you want in your life, only because those are the people that visit me in the hospital and they didn't treat me like I was in hospital.
They made you feel like you.
Like I was
Yes.
normal.
Yes. Yeah.
And they're kind of the ones you want around more than
Yeah.
the criers. That makes sense.
I get that.
As for the people that aren't ill,
Mm-hmm.
but you're just trying to do something, at the end of the day, you time is a luxury. There's a lot of things that right now I'm seeing people saying, oh, we can't go on holiday, we can't go to bars, you can't do this and that. I'm thinking to myself, I'm realizing how spoiled we are as a community. Like certain things, like when I think back to how people used to live, they didn't have bars, they didn't have, do you know what I mean? It's just like I think people are too comfortable, and sometimes negative stuff has to happen to make you understand that you're wasting time. And I'd rather people learn the lesson before something bad happen.
Yes.
But sometimes bad stuff has to happen so that you understand you haven't got time to waste. For those people who haven't done anything yet, first question is why? Second question is can that be solved? Because a lot of people are praying for God to change lives, but I'm not getting up. And it's just like, that doesn't work. And I saw something that I thought was really, really, really smart. I saw a preacher go, he said, I think it's TD Jakes, he goes, God's in the business of creating trees, not chairs.
Wow.
And I think that's really deep, because in the end of the day, people are praying like, God help me. But God's not the type to come down with an angel and start singing hymns. He's going to be like, listen, here's an opportunity to fix your situation.
Yes.
There's therapy. There's a skill. There's a BTech. There's a university degree.
There's something, yeah.
Business opportunity. There's a partnership on a project or something like that. Here it is. And then you go, oh, I don't like it. God, please help me. And then he's like, well, okay, here's another one. Yeah. And he would eventually, he's just gonna go, when you die, he's gonna look at you in the face and go, I sent you like how many? It's not my fault that you didn't apply work with your faith. It's so I think people are so entitled to tomorrow that it's a detriment. Because I know for a fact tomorrow is not.
It's not guaranteed, is it?
Yeah. And it's like, how dare you live your life just assuming you're going to wake up? And I think if people just had more fear, I'm not saying they have to have like death hanging over them. I'm just saying more fear as an appreciation for life, in the sense of how finite it is, and the fact that they've only got a limited amount. You got a clock, and at the end of the day, when that time done and you blink, because everyone says, "Oh, they went quick." No, you just wasted it. Like literally, you blink and you go, "Wow, I'm 40." You blink again, "Wow, I'm 50." You blink again, I'm 60. Now you're getting health problems, and now it's like if you blink again and you haven't done anything, it's a problem. So it's like, why would you keep blinking and say, "Oh, that was a quick year. That was a quick year." Do something now, because if you don't do something now, tomorrow's going to be exactly the same, and it's not going to wait for you. Time doesn't care about who's the president. You know what I mean?
It really doesn't. Yeah.
It doesn't care about your color. It doesn't care about if you're Jamaican or if you're white. At the end of the day, what are you going to do today to change tomorrow? If you're not going to do anything cool, but don't cry. Do you understand? And I think that's the line where it's like entitlement, because it bugs me when poor people go, let the rich give us their money. Yes, they should pay tax. That money should be distributed to the poor. But for you to who doesn't work, who refused to get up, who did no type of graft to make anything better, saying now I did and I should give you money, that's ridiculous. And I think that if you're ever sitting on an idea that you have not put ideas into, again, in this day and age, we actually don't need money to get started. You can apply for funds, you can apply for grants, you can fundraise, you can do all kinds of stuff, get product off the ground, money is not an issue. If you
The
have a good
mindset.
idea, people will
Yeah.
invest in your idea. So stop telling me you haven't got the money. What you haven't got is a plan. I think that because people don't have a plan, they have no goals. And because they have no goals, they have nothing to wake up for. And because they have nothing to wake up for, they get depressed. Rewind that. Listen to something positive so you're not depressed. Have some goals, have some objectives, and then have a plan as to what you want to achieve. And then that will give you some reason to wake up. Stop telling me you haven't got time. Stop telling me it's about because you're black. No, it's not. This is the best time to be alive.
Wow.
It's never been as good to be equal, but it's never been this balanced ever. Like it's never like this is as good as it's been so far. Your color is it might be a part of the equation, but it's very small. And even now with George Floyd dying,
Yeah.
they want to give you more of a chance. So now it's not even going to be because you're black, it's because you haven't got the skills. Because they want to hire more people who have color. You just haven't got the qualifications. So what are they meant to do? What? Just not work? No. It's just you have to. That's why I say like
mobilize yourself. Yeah.
Thank you. And it's just like do something that sets you apart and then glow. Like it's just it's that. And I just think like there's so many people who are, you should have written a book by now. You should have started your business by now. You should have started a family. All this other stuff you should have done by now. But you waffled, you blinked, 10 years has gone past, and now you're like, oh, I wish you still got time. My mom.
You're still breathing. Once you're breathing, you're still in the game.
My business teacher told me this. Every time we had the exams, he would say, look, when's your exam? 2 days from now. He said, cool. Are you ready for it? I said, no. He said, go, cool. Put your hand in front of your face. What do you feel? You feel air? Okay, good. That means you still have time.
Yes.
So go home and study. and that's literally it. And I think if people just start to treat life like that, they would get started. I think wasting time thinking is as bad as not having a purpose as all. I think people think so much that they go from making an educated decision to time wasting to laziness. And I think that it's very dangerous to go from, I think you should make educated decisions. I don't think you should take more than a day to think about it. If you take more than a day to think about it, then as far as I'm concerned, you're not serious. And number two, it's something that you don't want. You think you want, but you don't want. If I'm thirsty and you give me water, I'm gonna drink it.
You're gonna drink.
I'm gonna sit there for 2 days and go, this water. Do you know what I mean? That doesn't work like that. So I think if you got an idea of writing a book, but you don't get up thinking about, okay, how am I gonna write this book, and you don't write the book, your passion is in the book. So figure out what else you should be doing. Like, don't just do a book because someone else has a book. I don't just start a show just because someone else has a show. Like, what do you want to do? That's why I say to people when they get started with us, what's your motivation? Because for some people, it's the Maserati and the Lamborghini. For some people, it's just about impacting lives. Yeah. Two different motivations, but the result is the same.
Yes.
So it's what's your motivation? Get that, and then get paid for your motivation. That's what I would say. But don't got time for that.
Well,
you can get your blood test today and got told you got 1 week to live like me. So,
and look at you now, and now you're doing amazing, changing lives by getting people involved. Just leave your details again for people to.
Okay.
I know we're limited to time.
Kierran Jarrett, so KIERRAN JARRETT. My Instagram, which I'm probably on most of the time, K Jarrett, so KJARRETT official, and you'll find me.
Yeah, I will try and I'll put those on the video anyway.
Everything's on my website. So
I'll put your website up.
www.kieranjarrett.com. All my socials are on there as well, I believe. So yeah.
Wow, Kierran.